Maybe like this? Maybe, okay. And we're back with your weekly dose. Whatever. Literally. I have on fun pants for you. The listeners can't see, but they're plaid-ish and like a fun material and kind of flared at the bottom, but really high-waisted and kind of the outline of a diaper. So I thought I would try it on the pod first, very low stakes. Because the majority of you can't see me, but I did want to try. But I don't know if I can really wear them in public. I will say, I fuck with flares. Maybe. I don't know how you feel about that. And I don't really care. Yes, I do. Of course I do. I deeply care. But I have a couple of flared things along with the flares. I never thought I would come around and say it, but I feel like I'm ready for wedges to come back. Some of you may say wedges never went anywhere. Yes, they did. And maybe for a brief amount of time, but I am ready for them to come back because just the comfort level is way better than any other heel. And like at this age, I'm sick of having my feet hurt. I can't do it. It leads to back problems. And I can't be swelling out of my strappy heels after 3 dirty martinis at my girlfriend's high school reunion where I'm supposed to be impressing people. Somebody was like, oh my God, I can't believe you can be on martinis all night. I was like, cross-eyed, feeling great. What do you mean? She's like, just all the sodium. I was like, Jesus, that's why I'm swelling out of my black strappies. My pinky toe was like on its own landmark off the shoe, giving me balance, the size of what a big toe should be. I do swell. I think I just have a lot of lymph fluid. I don't think it's related to heart failure, but I have wondered if I'm at greater risk because I do seem to retain fluid much easier than others. The jury's out. Stay tuned. Okay, we're going to talk a little of this and a little of that today. I figured I'd start with some good stories that just that. I don't need an excuse. I can tell whatever I want to tell. And so, well, I think, okay, yeah, this is why. A couple episodes ago, I was like talking about my neck Botox, and I was like, I'll get to that later. Now's the time. First, I was ahead of my time and very progressed with the locations I wanted Botox. By that, I mean the Kardashians. Now there's a phase of trap Botox. Korean skincare is always on the forefront of this. They've been doing it for years. They do traps, neck, and calf slimming. I don't actually know if there's an amount of Botox that would cause toxicity. Just like a paralytic, but I do think there's something about it that if it gets in the bloodstream, it doesn't really paralyze. I feel like I've heard that, and I do feel like the efficacy or the safety of it is pretty good. So I don't know what Botox toxicity, it would maybe look like a Bell's palsy, a stroke situation. I haven't had it. But so when I was a Broncos cheerleader, one second. When I was a Broncos cheerleader, our arms were always up with the pom-poms. Go Broncos, go football, 3-pointer, field goal, touchdown, Catch. Go Broncos. And I noticed in all the pictures we would get back, whenever I'd raise my arms above my head, like 2 pulls, I would get a lot of wrinkles on my neck, giving bulldog. Bulldog pug, Shar-Pei, honestly. It was like big, thick wrinkles. I have a long neck and I don't have flexible shoulders. So I think all the tension goes to my neck. It's probably genetic, just like all the things that are, and I know whatever, nobody cares, but you asked, kinda. I'm just assuming. Anyways, so I was Googling. I'm a nurse. I know just enough to be dangerous. So I was like, would Botox in the neck help with this situation I have going on? This tragedy. And mind you, I didn't see it in a lot of the other girls. But I have been pretty self-conscious. I just have like a lot of movement. You guys can see, and my mannerisms are just like really cannot be reined in. So you'll really get a glimpse of it. I'm just selling myself out now. But anyways, so we had like on the Broncos, we had this woman who used to be a cheerleader and now is an esthetician and gave us like cheap Botox, like $8 a unit or something. You bet your ass I'm there and I'm square. And so I went in for a consult. She was like, well, a surgeon's going to have to do this because it's the neck. And I haven't been taught. I was like, perfect. First mistake, because doctors and surgeons aren't always better. Normally, it's like estheticians, nurses, nurse practitioners. They have a lot of experience. They're learning from this experience. I don't know what the doctor is doing all day. Consulting. He's not in the field. And he was an ENT doctor, so I don't know. He's probably doing some complicated nasal polyp removal and then seeing me on the side. So first thing when I walk into the clinic, I was assessed by all the nurses. They're looking. I'm like, you guys, I just really need to fix this. I don't know what else to do. And they're looking around with a wondering eye. And they're like, oh, you're going to need a neck lift. I was like, I'm like 27. I was like, a neck lift? This just went from bad to worse. Like I thought I was just going to get a little bit of the tox, a little drop of the paralytic. But you just went from A to Z. Okay, well, when can I do that? And they're like, you're going to have to wait for your skin to get even saggier. It's just too tight right now, but really, like whatever. Really upsetting to them. They were very concerned. Most people are like, who the fuck cares? We can't even tell. It's literally not them. So this was the state that I went in, and I sit down. I'm waiting for the surgeon, and he's like, whatever. Not totally convinced because I'm sure this is like Denver, LA. It's like these girls are getting it everywhere. I told you guys all the places that I've had my Botox. Really works for hyperhidrosis. You can get it in your masseters, for jaw slimming, for migraines. It has all kinds of effects. But this was like a small clinic outside of Denver. So he was like looking at me kind of like cockeyed, cross-eyed, like I had 15 heads. And but he was like, okay, I think you're a candidate. Normally I only do this on older women, but you seem in desperate need. I didn't ask any questions because one, I had already done enough research and I didn't want to scare myself out of it. Like, if anything, I'm gonna fucking commit. I can't think or ask questions on my way out. It's like if I'm doing something kind of spontaneous, I just have to do it. I know there's like not a big time lapse because I will talk myself out of it. I can't deal with the extra. I just have to close my eyes and go. I'm like, okay. So he goes to fill up the syringes, blasts my ass all around the neck. It is pretty tender. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. We'll see. You guys, Robbie twists her hair as like an anxious habit, and sometimes she does do it so much she gets a little bald spot. And God, I do love that little bald spot. But she was like, maybe they'll do a hair transplant for this one little area. And I'm like, babe, just try Divi. I also have so many girlfriends who just don't have a lot of hair. And I feel like it is such a struggle. Like having thick, full hair just makes us feel more beautiful and feminine, like we deserve to be feeling as women. And we're not alone. So many people struggle with this, especially dudes. Like, no further comment. But Divi is a scalp serum, which is science backed. You know, I love that. And it's good for hair shedding or thinning due to stress, postpartum, menopause, or any related medical condition. It's for scalps with a lot of product or oil buildup, me. Those who wear tight hairstyles or extensions, also me. And basically anyone who is looking out for their scalp health, me. Divi's first product, a clinically tested scalp serum, started when Danny Austin went through an emotional hair loss journey and took it upon herself to research and learn about the importance and routines behind scalp health, truly doing the Lord's work so we don't have to. The scalp serum improves the appearance of breakage, nourishes hair follicles, and removes product and oil buildup. Some key ingredients are copper tripeptides, woo-hoo, caffeine, hallelujah, and tea tree oil, which I feel like is just an amazing ingredient all around. Also, some big news here. Not only does Divi have a serum, but they just launched a dry shampoo. And I live on dry shampoo because I'm just too lazy to wash my hair, and I'll do anything to avoid it. Plus, the dry shampoo also works with your hair for a fuller, thicker looking hair over time. I feel like it's just genius and what we've all been looking for. Do you want to take back control of your hair and scalp health and do it with clean, science-backed ingredients? Well, we have a special offer for my audience. Go to diviofficial.com/Gabby or enter Gabby at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's use DIVI official.com/Gabby for 20% off your first order. And that's GABBY, just to be clear. Like I said, I'm an active Broncos cheerleader at the time. 3 days later, I go to Denver Broncos cheer practice. I feel like my neck could swivel off its axis at any point in time. I feel like one wrong hair flip. Mind you, we were learning a dance with an extraordinary amount of head and neck movements. It was like the gobble, it was like the bobbing the head out, it was to the side. I've lost all of my muscle contraction in the front of my neck. And it was a fast song. It was like da 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 da. I'm like, holy fuck, but I gotta get through this. Like, I put my head down. I can't make any complaints. Nobody can know what the depths that I'm going to get my neck from not looking like a wrinkly dog. So I feel like at any second my head could completely fall off its neck and twist around. I'm like a chicken though, so I keep dancing and I'm nailing the choreography. Headless. My head is in the corner, like doing the hairography, bobbing along on the floor. But I thought that could be me at any second. I was fully convinced. The practice was the slowest 3 or 4 hours I've ever been through. Nobody really drew attention. I told one of my best friends, McKenna, what was going on. And we would go outside every 15 minutes to 30 minutes when we could take a breather, and I'd have her feel my carotid artery just to make sure I was alive, because somehow I thought that it was going to kill me by way of depumping the carotid, because the muscles around my neck, I didn't know if that elasticity of the carotid artery was related to the muscle contraction. I'm like, I'm definitely fucked. my carotid's going to stop pumping. I just need you to check my pulse. So she was checking my pulse every 20 to 30 minutes. Somehow I made it through. It was, my neck was compromised for, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks. I will say it worked. I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate, but the science is sound. Anyways, not only did I lose complete contraction of my neck, I lost my capabilities to swallow correctly, fully. Again, luckily I'm a nurse, so I'm well versed with patients with dysphagia, which is a side effect that happens after you have a stroke because you can lose like your ability to swallow. So you have to tuck your chin and swallow. So you close off your trachea, the esophagus opens, so it's going in the right pipe. I was stroke swallowing for weeks because I was aspirating on my food. I couldn't take big gulps. I was like, holy shit, is my swallow ever gonna come back? Am I gonna get a pneumonia? And not only that, and then my voice dropped like 2 to 10 octaves, which I didn't hate because it kind of sounded like I had a cold. It was like kind of sexy raspy, but like almost a little too deep. I have a raspy voice, but there's definitely like a vocal fry about it. There's an alto pitch to it. I'm no bass. With the Botox that attacked my neck, I was down low. I was down low to the floor. So I completely, like, my voice was near unrecognizable. Again, surprising that nobody caught on. I went back to the doctor for my 2-week follow-up, and he was like, well, do you have a cold? I'm like, no, bitch, you did this to me. I don't have a cold. He's like, are you sure? Have you been coughing, sneezing? I'm like, I know what a cold is. You're not going to gaslight into me thinking that you didn't do this. And I will say, after all of that, the one good thing about Botox is it just wears off. Depending on your metabolism, it probably starts to wear off after 2 months. It lasts for 3, maybe 4 or 5 months, it's gone. So it did wear off. Have I gone back? You bet your ass. But something that actually works better is Botox in the traps. I feel like because I do just have so much tension, so it kind of releases it. But I just thought I'd share that story. Like in all of the back of my neck, it was like in pain as the muscles were like reallocating and relearning how to literally hold its head up. Otherwise I'd be like bobbling. So yeah, and ever since then I haven't gone back to a surgeon. I like a nurse practitioner. I like a nurse because they're used to it. They're a little more conservative. What else? I've had some, it's like we've all kind of had some trial and error. That is the good thing, is that it does just like wear off. Like one time I had too much, I tried to get a lip flip and I had too much Botox, and we went on a military tour for Broncos and I was literally smiling like this, like no teeth. And I had so much Botox in my head, and we would like take naps on the buses because we would travel by bus to a lot of places. And one of my friends was like, why do you look so angry when you sleep? Because my Botox was so heavy, it was giving me a frown. Again, it wore off. But oh yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have a long lip, which I know is like whatever, the lift lip is coming out. It's like, I think whatever, we're all well-rounded. I think just being a woman, you are concerned about, even probably a man, like you're concerned about your looks. You want to be whatever in your body. I'm just talking to you about it. I went in for a lip lift consult and was denied. I was like, what the fuck? He was like, I wouldn't. And I was like, why? Like, I'm really here to pay you. But I think the recovery, and plus I'm going to listen. If somebody tells me no, I'm going to take that as honestly solace and peace of mind. Because if I hear it from a professional, then I can like forgive my, like allow myself to stop thinking about it, even though I still think about it. But I will say, it's fine. I just like overlined my lip. For GMA, they posted, or for Robbie and I's anniversary, GMA posted a photo of us. And someone in the comments just commented a gif of Steph Curry like tucking his lip like this. And like you could barely see his teeth, and that's the only thing they commented. I was like, touche. And I'm not looking for like, oh my God, don't change anything, this or that. I'm just like genuinely talking out loud because I'm sure there's somebody who's like going through the same thing. Girl, you're in good company. We can only do so much. And I feel like lip lifts are like coming in fashion because people talk about how easy they are. There's this woman, Melinda Farina. She's called the Beauty Broker. She has built her own business on like consulting. She's built relationships with like the top surgeons and dentists like across the country. She used to work in like aesthetic dentistry and originally I think built this company, and like the surgeons like actually would pay her, but then obviously that's a conflict of interest. So now it's like she can confidently say there's no conflict of interest. It's truly just from her knowledge. So I went to her first to see if she thinks, I would be a candidate. And she's like, she's pretty conservative, which I like. And she's like, no, not really. Like, don't do it because it is a scar in the middle of your face. You don't know if anything bad can happen. It's probably just safer. It's like maybe in 10 years when it's really sagged, then I can go back. But yeah, and then she was the one who told me to do microcurrent, which I think has made a huge difference. I've actually stopped because I'm like, fuck. And it's really not terrible pricing either in LA, which everything, don't even get me started on the prices of facials and stuff in LA. It's ridiculous. But I go to the best spa here for microcurrent. If you guys want the name, DM me. They do it for like 200, and the equipment is patented technology. I've talked about it before. It's literally the best. I've seen like a huge difference with that, but I stopped to see if it was making a difference, and you bet your ass it was. So I'm gonna start going back. And Robbie came with me to get my top lip dissolved. I think she was 100% traumatized. I've never seen her so quiet. She couldn't even look at the needle. I was like, were you scared? She was like, no, I just didn't want to look because I didn't want you to see me looking. I was like, oh my God. And then literally, I don't know if it's an allergic reaction or normal. It took like 2 weeks for it to feel not bruised, but it was so big. I looked like that girl from Teen Mom. And we had a double date that night with Morgan and Adam. Shout out. Love them, but it's like they live on the west side. They were coming to the east side for a comedy show that Robbie was opening for. So I'm like, obviously I'm going to see them because it's like 2 different states when you have friends on the other side of LA. And I use lip liner and stuff, but her boyfriend obviously has no idea what's going on, what's dissolving lip filler, this and that, and it was like so bad. But he was nice. He pretended not to see anything, and I was like, oh my God. And obviously I kept bringing it up because it's like the elephant in the room. And Robbie was like, I hope you don't feel like you have to. I'm like, no, bitch, you just have to like address it. Like, I cannot act like this is normal. It was insane. But I'm like, it's LA. The girl who dissolved my lip was like, no, I've seen people in Beverly Hills with like drains coming out of their face. Oh, damn. Catch me like that in 10 years. Okay, yeah. This is going to come out a little later, so it's not going to be as relevant, but Baby Reindeer, damn, it was traumatic as fuck. I don't know if there was like trigger warnings and stuff, but there definitely should have been. I feel like, I think there's 7 episodes. I do think it could have been 6. Nobody cares. I thought it was like so good. Obviously, it's like we know he's fucked up because he just like kept letting Martha stalk him. Also, not like, who was he just, somebody just had the real Martha on. I don't know. I should probably know the name, but I don't. But it's like not us giving, well, not me, not these like interview shows giving Martha a platform. The real, that's his stalker. So for people who didn't watch it, just go watch it. But it's like a real life account of the main character, who's a comedian and writer. He was like tragically stalked by this crazy ass woman after he was kind of groomed by someone, by like a writer, a showrunner in the industry. So I think that like fucked him up psychologically, and then he was kind of, I don't know, like predisposed to liking this sort of negative attention. Like I think the stalker in a sick way gave him a purpose. He was really going through a lot. But yeah, like as a viewer, you're like, why don't you just tell her to fuck off, stop emailing? She would like come to the bar and sit down at the bar and like get a drink every day. It's like once you realize the pattern, I would quit my job and just like work at another bar, and he was a comedian, like somehow get rid of her. It's like I don't fuck with danger. That's something about me. I just don't flirt with it. If I had this crazy lady running towards me on the street today at 8:45 in the morning telling me to leave, bitch, I'm like, I'm left. I'm literally outside my house and I'm crossing the street. So I'm like getting out. And first of all, do you own the street? Yes, it was her side of the street, so I complied. If anything, I'm a good citizen. She felt really strong about it, so I crossed the street. She was still yelling at me to leave, bitch. Got my milk, came back. She started following me, crossed the street to get to my side, so I crossed the street. I always got my eyes on you, too. And then I took off in a sprint because I'm not fucking around. If there's a dog on a leash that cannot be controlled, you bet your ass I'll go the other way, even if it's not in the direction I want to go. If I see anyone walking after dark near me, I'll walk the other way across the street. I just like, I don't really fuck with it. But with Baby Reindeer's like traumatic history, yeah, he kind of wanted to, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well written, I think. And we watched like in person like interviews with him since the show came out, and he just seems like his character, like such a normal guy, kind of like docile in a way. And it was like kind of crazy to see someone who just like really blew the fuck up, like so humble. Like he was really normal, and he still looked traumatized as fuck. So I'm like, maybe he's working through his trauma by like writing this incredible series. I think it probably like is helping him heal, which is honestly like brave as fuck. I mean, to everyone knows it's based on real life. Everyone knows that it happened to him because he starred in it. Plus, he's like a really great actor. He was always crying on cue. We're like, damn, where's he getting these tears from? And so then everybody knows, one, he's like fucked up, and two, that he went through this crazy shit. But yeah, I think like it's really great to talk about. Also, he like, so it flashbacks to him being groomed by this writer showrunner, like terribly tragically. He was like date raping him and then giving him coke on top of it. It's like, ugh, that is disgusting, all because he wanted help with writing a show. And then he was like dating trans women, exploring his sexuality, trying to figure out, like, because I think he had so much shame after being like sexually abused, that he was just like, how do I like to have sex? How do I work through this? So he was trying everything. And I don't know, I think something that I really walked away from after watching it was like, it is, I think, normally we think of like little girls or women being groomed and like sexually abused. Obviously, we know it can happen to men. And I think victims are still like dismissed, unfortunately. So it on one hand, it did really feel like, especially with him like exploring his sexuality, he was dating trans women, kind of open, like watching a man be fluid, and explore these things. And he was like, he was appeared like a straight white man, you know, seeing someone, I guess, so like CIS, not SIS, cis, like go through these things. I did feel like level the playing field a little bit. Like, it was really interesting and I think poignant to watch this happen to a man. And then on the other coin, or the other hand, or the other side of the coin, whatever the fuck, is like, do we take it more seriously because it's a man's story? I think it's something we obviously have to ask ourselves, because that is like whatever, where sexism, misogyny and stuff like comes into play. It's like, it is sexism if this same situation either wouldn't happen to a man and only a woman, or maybe, you know, would be treated or thought of differently. I'm just talking to talk. You guys know I'm always at odds with myself. I'm always just like whatever, thinking. But either way, I thought it was really incredible. That's fresh on my mind. I also will say, one second. Love Taylor Swift, love her new album. I think it was like whatever, I don't know, even know what we were expecting, or people like wanted banger after banger after banger because of her whatever reputation. She's just like mass producing this content. But fuck, I don't hate it. Yeah, it sounds the same, but don't fix what ain't broke. I love it. I love SZA. Some would say she kind of sounds the same, but again, I like her. I like her sound, so I keep coming back for more. Summer Walker, I love them all. And I like how it sounds like one long song. Like it's like a continuation of the other. So it's like I don't ever really feel compelled to skip. I was so against Florida at first because I'm like, why are we screaming Florida at the top of our lungs? It's just like not really hitting or like making me want to project out and sing impassion. Oh, Florida. And is that an Easter egg? Why she, like, I feel like she talks about Florida in a lot of her songs. What is going on in Florida? Please tell us. I want to retire there one day. They don't have any taxes. They have arguably, keyword, the best weather. I love the humidity. I love the sun. And I love Florence and the Machines on Florida. And then I started listening to it a little more. And I'm like, okay, this is actually making more sense. I cannot tell you still what it's about, but I feel like the lyrics are making more sense now than in the beginning. It takes you a couple times. Like, I'm always a grower, not a shower. Not to brag when it comes to music, because I like a slow burn. If it burns slowly, it's gonna last longer. Olivia Rodrigo's new album, Burn Through It. Haven't really circled back. I love Olivia Rodrigo. But like Taylor Swift, I can always have her on in the background. I can sleep to it. I can play it in the car. It's just like kind of comforting. I don't know if we're over the Taylor Swift dynasty, but whatever. And then the Thank You Amy of it all. It's like Taylor Swift's messy, so who cares? That is, I feel like musicians have, obviously they're talented as fuck, so they deserve all of this. But they have such a sick platform. They have such a sick platform that they can talk about these things and put it in a song instead of just like outright on the nose. Like all of Dolly Parton's songs singing about women and feminism, but she never had to like come out and say it. It's like, damn, this is good. And she was fucked over. And I do feel like she was right in the end. Yeah, Kim Kardashian caught her on tape, but it was a different conversation. That she's like, whatever, Kim and Kanye were mad at Taylor because Taylor gave her the okay to say like fuck you or something, but it was just a preliminary conversation. He was like, can we sing about you? She's like, yeah, of course, let me know when you like hit me back up when you have the lyrics set. And then he never hit her back up when he was like, I'm gonna call her a bitch. So Kim was like, we caught you on tape, but it was the wrong conversation, so nobody's wrong. But Taylor has the platform, so you can't really fuck with her. I don't wanna. I'm not coming for her. Oh, I was going to tell you stories about, I have a couple. We'll see what sticks. Okay, well, I get lots of medical questions because I was a nurse. Love them. Keeps my skills sharp, keeps me engaged. I know how to navigate the wiki, the Google, and get to the bottom of it. I will always, at the end of the day, say to go to urgent care. If you have an issue, you better go to urgent care. If you have health insurance, it's like I cannot believe some of us still don't. I was uninsured for like a year because it was just literally hard to get it. I think I talked about this before, but even the process of they make it so hard to even get health insurance that no wonder why we're uninsured. Plus, it's so crazy expensive to get out of pocket. And then even finding a PCP on top of that is even harder. I had to get on the phone with my insurance and be like, find, I was like Googling health grades. Like, obviously I want to go to a female, and I want to, did I talk about this? And I want to know that they're good at their job. I'm not going to a 0 on health grades. Fuck no. There was this one doctor that like everyone in one of my like girlfriend friend group went to, and I guess she was like terrible. I don't know how anyone ended up with her, but she had terrible reviews on Yelp. It's like, who knew we were using Yelp to review doctors, but I'm down for it. And then my friend had a bad experience with her and also left her a terrible review. I'm like, as you should. But yeah, urgent care, always. But so I get a text from a family member. I'm not going to say who. And they're like, it's like a group text with the family member and said wife. The wife texts me, hey Gabby, are you free? I'm like, okay. Any kind of those like phone calls, I'm always nervous. Just like, please skip the text and just call me. So I immediately picked up the phone and called. I'm like, yes, I'm free. What is going on? She's like, so-and-so is having an issue. And I knew so-and-so just had COVID. So I'm like, oh, is the COVID going okay? Is there a complication? Like, oh my God, what's going on? My mind is like spinning. I'm like, let's get him on some oxygen. Let's get him to the hospital. Maybe this or that. Maybe it's normal. So-and-so is having an issue. He has a rash. I'm like, a rash? It's always a fucking rash. it's always a rash, or will you look at this mole, which I send to my NP friends all the time because I'm so moly. Some people will comment on my Instagram and be like, get your moles checked. I'm like, I have. Believe you me, I have. I watch them all. Make sure they don't get bigger. I'm just like really moly. I also use the fuck out of sunscreen. I'm also half Mexican, so half of my people are closer to the equator, so they have like a natural sunscreen barrier. But I'm still obviously really careful. And okay, so and so has a rash. No context, nothing. The first thing you do, you have to like describe the rash. Like, is it itchy? How long has it been there? Is it small? Is it big? Is there pustules? Is there defined borders? Is it blah, blah, blah. So I'm like firing off questions. I'm like, just send me a pic. No trigger warning. The wife doesn't know how to use invisible ink. No, nothing. I just get a picture right to my phone of what appears to be the groin area of a man and a penis. And a family member. Like, please. This is like, please just go to Google first, or somebody else in healthcare. But at the end of the day, I am good at the task at hand. I'm like, send this in invisible ink. Give me a trigger warning first. This is so crazy. And mind you, the man was literally legs spread on the couch. He didn't even stand up for the photo. So I'm just like envisioning all of like the actual like process of taking the picture, of sending it to me. Everyone involved has to be mortified, including me. I glance at the picture, look away. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, I don't need a visual anymore. I can't study this any longer. And it was like, there was a lot. It was the groin area. And the picture was like moving the sack out of the way to just get the rash in the groin. While moving the sack out of the way, the thumb was kind of like cut off. So it wasn't clear that the thumb was not a thumb. It looked really shafty. I told all my friends. I told Robbie. I was like, look at this. Can you believe this? Check this out. If this is going to happen to me, it's got to happen to you too. You bet your ass. Like, you're going to have to feel some pain. Turns out it was a thumb, but it took me like a couple telling the story and showing the pictures what it actually was. You guys, turns out I was like noodling on this, and I'm like, okay, he had COVID. He was probably sweaty. Like, when's the last time you took a shower? He's like, well, I had COVID for 2 days and I just took my first shower. I'm like, you have jock itch. You're a grown man and you didn't wash your balls. And this is what happens when you're fevering in sweat in an already moist area. You have yeast. You're baking bread. You're a bread factory. Don't put any sourdough down there. It could raise. You don't want a loaf of bread in your thigh. In your little dicky. The next morning I get a test. After some powder in a shower, I'm all better. I'm like, fuck. I didn't sign up for this. What the fuck? But those are just like little things. Honestly, it's a good story to tell, and it does. It keeps my nursing brain alive and well, and I do like to critically think because not much is really doing it these days. Just here talking to myself. Talking to Nardo, he doesn't give one fuck. Somehow he's asleep. I think with all the podcasting, he is falling asleep with my voice, because when I'm editing, he'll like listen and go to sleep. It's actually so cute. I feel really connected to him lately. It took me 7 years. You guys know our relationship. It was like love-hate, but now we can hold eye contact for 30 seconds or more. It's the best. I came home drunk crying the other day. I was so down bad for no reason because Robbie and I didn't come home together, which was by choice. I wanted to come home. I had things to do the next day, and she wanted to stay. And I was just so sad not to be with her. I came home and I sobbed. also about to start a period. Nardo was so good. He just laid right next to me. He didn't move. I was on the floor. I was being so dramatic, embarrassed for myself. But he was really great and just like sat with me and watched me. Oh, he's really turning out to be a good dog. You guys, I'm here for the Charlie XCX music video. Also, on said night of coming home drunk crying, the only thing that made me feel better was watching the music video 2 times in a row. She has great taste. Everybody in there is an icon. I think the song is pretty good too. I didn't really pay attention. Oh, yeah. Okay. Besides that, I was gonna tell you guys, but it's like, I've been on a journey with therapy. I've tried it all. I will try it all. I'm kind of into hypnotism right now. I haven't tried it. I don't know if it's worth it. If you guys have any experiences, please let me know. I went the easy way out of my own head. Probably not going to get it. Everyone's like, you have to do the work. I'm like, but what if all I need is a quick hypnist? Huh? You are sleepy. All fixed. She's better. She doesn't have any intrusive thoughts, no bad dreams, no anxieties, no traumas, no deflection. But it's like, I have been on Drag Race 2 recently. Ugh, it's my whole identity. And I feel like RuPaul is so good at preaching the sermon of like, you don't have to be perfect because your imperfections are what make you. I'm in a good place today because I've been doing daily affirmations. I should go get them for you. They're really working. Robbie does them with me if she's over, and I stand 6 inches away from the mirror, and I've done it for 2 days, and I've had a pretty fucking good 2 days, 100% success rate. And honestly, it could be because of RuPaul, because he just like validates these queens and what they're good at. Like, you don't have to be the best at everything. I feel like you just have to like lean into your imperfections and kind of know yourself. With that being said, I'm trying to get there. I've been on a journey with therapy. My first therapist was a witch. She was like witchy, a little too woo-woo spiritual. She wasn't telling me anything. I need to be psychoanalyzed. I want to know what the fuck happened that I got here. Like, I just need the insight of the childhood that got me so fucked up now. So at least I understand there's a reason for everything. Because if not, I'll just blame myself and I feel like I'm just like broken. And then it's like positive self-talk, because I do think that's why affirmations work, because it's like you have to realize that some of your thoughts, they're just not fucking true. Your brain's lying to you for God knows why, because it doesn't want you to be happy, which is like that also, I know it's true, but it just doesn't make sense to me. But they do say like it's not going to feel true for a while. Like, you're going to be like, no, I'm a bad bitch, pussy purr. And like, you're not going to believe it for a while. But then you really will. So there is a period of time where you have to be delusional. Is also something that I'm learning. Like, a little bit of delu is really good for you. My first therapist was so woo-woo. I wish I could remember something to the effect of, you have to get to know your dragons, which I'm like, okay. I can't even get through the day right now. How am I supposed to fucking look for this dragon? Like, I just need to like wake up and feed myself breakfast and go to work, but like, I don't have time to look in the dark corners for this dragon. So I think I've seen her for like 6 months. And then I got another kind of talk therapist who I did love, but I was like wasting her time with dumbass dating shit. It's like when the whole time I should have been talking about my childhood and self-worth and mother wound. And then after that, I did EMDR here in LA. I saw an EMDR licensed therapist. We only used one modality, which was like we did the tactile buzzes. I guess there's like 3 you can look at: a light bar, which EMDR is just to stimulate both sides of your brain. It is scientifically proven. Like they've done MRIs. I've talked about this before too, where basically through EMDR, the trauma gets stuck on the left side of your brain. Through MDR, it goes to both. It like gets it less stuck. They have MRIs to prove it. I just feel like I kind of plateaued, or I wasn't being asked the right questions. She would be like, give me a scenario. What do you think? Do the buzzing. But I'm like, I'm not actually getting to the root. I tried EMDR in Denver too with this like old man. He was literally in his 90s. He's like so smart, but also just like, we didn't really align. And again, I just feel like he was asking me the same questions and I was giving the same answers. Like I wasn't totally getting to the bottom of things. I tried ketamine therapy. I talked about a little bit on a pod. I'll literally do it all. This was also woo-woo hippie. I'd drive my ass. Well, I'd take an Uber to Boulder because it was when I was in Denver, so I had to go to Boulder. That's where they offered it, 40 minutes away. Go there. It would either be a lozenge, or one time I did get an IM, which is like similar to IV. And then you would have a therapist there playing this wonderful music. You have like a sleep mask, and she kind of walks you through your high and like what you see. I don't know if it was transformative. Obviously, I do think hallucinogenics are good to access like a different part of your brain. I don't know if it's like gold standard for trauma and therapy. I know there is a lot of research out right now to like dispute that. I think we were on a wave. It's like ecstasy, yeah. Fight your trauma with MDMA. I've done Molly once and hated it. I just didn't like it. I don't think I had an as spiritual. It was also at a New Year's Eve party in Silver Lake, so obviously the environment maybe wasn't set up to be spiritual, but I don't think it was as spiritual as mushrooms or ketamine. Take what you want with that. But I know there's like lots of research and stuff being done. I think anything, it's like, you guys know, I'm pro meds, pro drugs. Meds can be drugs. You don't want to be dependent on anything unless it is written by your psychiatrist or doctor, but like recreational. But there is obviously lots of data out there to prove hallucinogenics, can open up your mind a little bit, can make you think differently. But I just don't know if that's the gold standard for like trauma, childhood trauma. I know some people speak otherwise, but like, how often am I supposed to be doing mushrooms? And like, I don't need to live my life like that wavy. It's like my goal is to actually be present and work through it. Okay, so the ketamine therapy. So loved it. I'd go into a K-hole every week, take an Uber home. The Uber driver was probably freaked the frick out. Sometimes I had music on, sometimes didn't, but I'm really sensitive. You're light sensitive too, so I had to wear sunglasses. Just asleep and slumped in the back seat midday. And if they've ever picked anyone up from that location before, they're like, probably, what is happening in there? I did like 5 or 6 sessions, and then I feel like I just kind of plateaued. I'm like, I keep going back because I want to get high. And then right when I was on to myself, I was like, okay, I got to try something else. So I do have a new therapist. She's an MD, I think like psychoanalyst. I don't know. But I think we're really going to get to the root of things. I have my second appointment tomorrow. Our first one was just like a get to know ya. There's always like so much get to know yas. But even couples therapy has helped so much with like identifying your trauma, because it just all comes out in relationships. So really, yeah, I've tried it all. And I'll continue to try it all. I've wanted to try neurofeedback. I don't know if that's really worth it. Hypnotism. I would do ayahuasca. Honestly, I'll do it all. It's a journey. That's why they call it a journey. Well, I don't think I left anything out. So, on that note, I'll beg and plead for 5 stars, for a subscribe, for a little follow. But you guys have honestly been the best. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch your ass next week on Long Winded.